So I got out two pieces of fabric that were all nicely pre-cut and perfectly lined up. So I start on the short end and stitch all the way from the top to the bottom, back stitching at the beginning and end. And I turn the fabric and leave about a 1-inch space where the elastic will be able to go through. And then I sew across the long side of the fabrics. I back stitch again and make a 1-inch space before sewing again on the other side where the elastic will go. This is the short side that I'm going to stitch now. I like to always back stitch. Leave a space of about 1 inch where the elastic will go. And then sew to within about 2 inches of the first seam, because that's where you're going to have an opening to turn the fabric inside out, right side out. I have a bamboo skewer that I cut a notch in the flat end, and I use that throughout this process to push out seams and also to run the elastic through the casings. So I've turned it right side out, and now I'm just getting the corners pushed out. Here comes my magic skewer. Now I'm going to sew a casing on the side so that the elastic creates a nice tight stretch at the side instead of a bunch across the whole mask. White on white fabric and thread makes it a little hard to see what I'm doing, but I'm not taking that casing stitch all the way to the end. It's about 1 inch down from the top and the bottom. And it's about 1 centimeter away from the edge. I've got my elastics, and now I'm going to put the elastics into that notch in my bamboo skewer. Sorry that you can't really see it, but now I can thread that through the casing. On each side. I think there's probably fancy tools that are like a big, huge, long needle, but I don't have one of those. And now I'm going to sew across the top, folding down the little edges where the elastic is coming out, because that wasn't included in the seam. So I'm just going to tuck it under. And then sew it. And there's about 2 or 3 inches of elastic sticking out here on this end, and when I sew the bottom side, I'll pull the elastic so that there's 2 inches, 3 inches out one end, 4 inches out the other end, so there's plenty of elastic for the user to tie it at a good length for them. I'm just tucking the raw ends inside and then sewing across them. And I like the back stitch. Just trimming up my loose threads. Tucking that raw fabric inside, and then pulling the elastic so that there's about 2 inches of elastic there. See how that casing makes it have a nice gather. And I just hold that elastic down with my finger so it doesn't go back inside, and then I top stitch. I might need to put my skewer inside to push the seam out as I top stitch. I come to the bottom corner, I tuck in the raw ends, just trimming up some strings, some threads that were from the previous casing stitch, tucking down those corner raw edges. This one was a little tricky. It just did not want to go in. Pull that elastic, holding down on that raw edge that's tucked under. Give it about 2 inches of elastic there inside the casing, and then back stitch it so that the elastic won't come out. And then you can trim up all of the hanging threads and get it folded up nicely for the end user.